Hey everybody, JJ here. Back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking, and thank you guys for being here. We have an unbelievably awesome young man as our guest speaker today. One of the nicest people I've ever met. Um, this young man started as a real estate student, become an entrepreneur, serious investor, very successful real estate investor. He is a father, he's a husband, he's a family man running a business, and he sleeps about an hour a day, hour a night. But he's out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community, and I talk about Pace a lot. His Sub 2 community is by far unparalleled as the best real estate education community in the country. Our guest speaker is my good friend, Mr. Munif Saza. How are you, Munif?
I am well. Thank you for that introduction, JJ. I really appreciate you. I think you're very generous with a lot of those accolades there. So thank you for that.
Well, you're awesome. You're very well deserved. Who is this lovely young lady we have here with you?
This is my daughter. Her name is Lila. She wasn't planning on being on the podcast, but I was out all day, so I came home and she wanted to spend time with her dad. So
That's
I
yeah.
didn't have the heart to I didn't have
No.
to leave her. So I brought her with me. So
Well,
she's here.
I'm sure this won't be the last of her podcast.
My wife Love is actually on the Zoom. So Love and I met through the Sub 2 community. So Love was one of Pace Morby's first students. Pace taught her transaction coordination. So she started a transaction coordination business. I'm a wholesaler. A lot of people know me from the Closers Olympics, as you can see on the net. So I'm known for closing deals. So people know me. If you Google my name, you'll see like videos of me like closing, live deals and like
That's so
talking.
cool. That is so cool. For those that don't know you, your name is very well known in the community. They may know your name. Where in the country are you located?
Right now we're in Tysons, Virginia. That's like Northeast Virginia, near DC. And then we travel between Phoenix, Arizona, and Virginia.
I want to talk about you, let people know who you are. People in Sub 2 know you as a Closers Olympics and
Mhm.
very successful investor. Um, which means you're very confident because the more you do things, the better you get. And you've done this for a while and you become very proficient. Um, what did you do before you became an investor? I mean, what were you doing, say, and you're a young guy, you're a young man. Um, from your teens into your 20s, were you doing sports? Were you doing music? Was real estate on the horizon? Were you just hanging out with your buddies?
None of the above. I thought I was going to be a doctor. So I was in all the pre-medical, biotechnology, biomedical programs, even as early as high school. And then when I went to university, I went to VCU. I got a full ride there to study pre-medicine and biomedical engineering to build up my accolades to be a doctor. And so that was my focus. I did biomedical engineering. I graduated with honors or whatever. And I really thought I was going to do that until I shadowed a doctor for an entire summer. She was a surgeon. I was her assistant for an entire month. She's a relative of mine. She's my aunt, who's a ophthalmologist. So that means she does surgery on eyes. And I remember Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Like that was her schedule. Like she'd be like, wake up at 5, be in the her clinic because she had her own clinic, and
Mhm.
from 6 a.m. to late at night, she would just be working. On Saturdays, she would do surgery and just like hours and hours of surgery. And that was her life. She'd have some days off and she made a lot of money, but she had no time for herself. Her schedule was booked 6 months in advance. She made a lot of money, which is what I wanted. Cause like, of course I like there's things about being a doctor I like, which is like you help people, you apply sciences. I like biology. I like that kind of stuff. And then also, it's a very lucrative career. But when I actually lived, in her shoes as her like literally her, I was her shadow for those 3 months. I noticed that not only did she have no time for herself and she had to plan everything 6 months in advance, including like a Saturday to herself. God forbid she wants a Saturday to herself. Um, she wasn't able to actually help the amount of patients that she wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like she was like a McDonald's like doctor. Like you got like 10 minutes in and out. You got like 80 people you're seeing that day. And you like, even if somebody needs more of your time, you don't have the luxury to give a patient. Because if you're giving a patient like an extra 10 minutes, that means one patient that they can't see.
Yeah.
So that disillusioned me from that field. I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up not going to medical school. And what I ended up doing was I actually put my engineering degree to use and I got a job in cybersecurity.
Yeah. How old are you at this point in time?
So about 22 to 24, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I was like kind of like a bum in my parents' house. They're like, "Are you going to be a doctor?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm having a early life crisis." I spent my like since I was 11 to like 20, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And then it's like, no, it's not happening. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I knew like I got to make some money. So I did some research and I figured, okay, well, if I'm going to make money, I think tech, cybersecurity is a good place to be, and I'm pretty computer savvy. So I spent the next 6 months when I was like 20, 24, got spent like 6 months just studying, getting certifications and building my resume, my portfolio. And I got my first job as a consultant. And it was like great. It was like six-figure job just at 24. And so I was really happy.
Right.
Um, and then I worked that job for 6 years. So from about like 24 to 30, I worked there. But what I realized is I was working for money. I was trading my time for money. And anytime I wanted to buy something, I measured it in time. So I measured it in I got to save up for 6 months before I can afford this thing. So it was just a weird thing. Like, oh, I can't afford this until six. When I budgeted my money, my salary, and my expenses, it's like, oh, I can't buy this motorcycle. That I remember wanting a motorcycle. It's like if I have to finance it if I want it now, or if I save for it, I have to wait for 6 months before I can afford it. Something about that was very depressing. I was like, this is
Yeah.
weird. There's like not even more to life. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, learned about real estate, and one thing led to another. And I found Pace Morby.
Now, let me ask you, that's how you and I have met. You said
Yes.
Pace. Did he come knocking on your door? Were you at a cocktail
No, no,
party with
no.
bigger pockets? How'd you
No, the way
find
I
out
found what happened is I paid for a ton of different mentorships and none of them worked. Oh, you've been there
Oh
yourself.
yeah.
None of them worked. None of them helped me. No one taught me how to network. Nobody taught me. There's a lot of stuff out there. Like right now, JJ, I don't think like I'm not sure are you charging people to be on the Zoom?
No.
Okay, so this is a free Zoom. What's interesting is sometimes we devalue things that are free. And when we value things more that are paid for, I don't know what the balloons are. I think it's the peace signs.
I think so,
Uh,
yeah. See.
what happens is you'll pay $1,000 or $10,000 to be in a Zoom, and you get nothing. You literally get nothing from it. Versus sometimes there are free communities and Zooms like this where you get $1 million of value. I really believe it. And I spent a lot of money, got no deals for 2 years. I get a call from my cousin. He goes, "Hey man, you gotta look into Pace Morby. I know you've spent a ton of money on mentorships and programs. I just bought the sub two mentorship. I'm in it. I love Pace Morby. He's amazing. He's a go-giver. He's my role model." And I was like, really? Like, who's this Pace Morby guy? I Google him, I YouTube him, watch probably like 20 hours of his content in like a day. And I DM him. I go, Pace, I got like, I borrowed so much money for these mentorships. I put all this money on a credit card. I took out a home equity line of credit to pay for all this stuff. I'm still at my job. I still haven't done a deal. I want to believe that your program is good, but like, how can like with my work schedule, like how can I be successful? And he actually responded back to me. And he goes, "Hey, we have Zooms every single day in the community that can fit your schedule, and you can network with people in the Zooms, and you can do deals with people live. And if you show up, you can do it." And the fact that he responded to me was just like that was enough. I was like, "Oh wow, this guy's not just somebody who's not a real person. Like he's a real person. He's actually like reading and responding." So I signed up the next day, and the rest is history. I started role playing in the morning daily dials.
So I want
Started
to ask you about that because I know
Yeah.
the story. You and I have talked about this. You know, some people are really good at real estate and they jump in and they're possibly an agent or a broker. They have a sales background and they're just up and running. But some people don't have that aptitude right off the bat. Now, there's a Zoom call with Sub 2 called the Daily Dial.
Yes.
And it starts at 8 in the morning on the East Coast, which is 5 a.m. in LA. And I've gotten on that 5 a.m. call in LA. And then they have another one for the West Coast at 7 a.m. in LA time.
Yep.
So Caroline Kane, she's amazing. She does this 5 days a week and she preps beforehand. And so she's a monster. Um, so you started getting on this Daily Dial when you were new and you're talking about role playing. Did role playing come
Yep.
easy to you? Was that
No, no, this is the best part. I was so scared to even role play. I procrastinated for a few months. Like I just didn't even get on the daily dial that I was supposed to get on. And come here, mama, come here. I procrastinated to the point where I remembered thinking to myself, man, I spent all this money on this mentorship. If I don't even get on and role play and make these pretend calls, I should just quit real estate altogether. So I talked myself into getting on the first role play on a Monday. So I get on the role play. I'm terrified. There's 100 people watching me. And I go, man, you can't screw this up. I'm so nervous. I think I'm going to get sick. I'm so scared. I think I'm going to throw up. I get on the role play. I go, hello, hello. And the person goes, hey, who's this? I go, hey, I'm Munif. Are you selling your property on 123 Main Street? And he goes, how'd you find my number? And I go, bye. And I hang up the phone. And I like literally like nobody laughed at me. I guess everyone was muted, but I was like so embarrassed. And I asked the coach, I was like, hey, how did I do? How was that call? And he goes, Munif, we got to keep him on the phone. Like, don't hang up on your sellers, man. You gotta try. I remember writing notes like, don't hang up the phone. Like I wrote that, like that was my notes. And I went on the next day and I did a little bit better. And I went on the next day and I did a little bit better. And I wrote notes and I practiced. I remember I would do dishes. I would like wash dishes and I would rehearse questions to ask sellers like, hey, like how come you haven't sold your house? What's stopping you from listing the property? And I remember like practicing my tonality so I sound like friendly and curious, not like, well, why hasn't the house sold? Versus, well, how come the house hasn't sold? What's stopping you from selling it? Well, why would you even want to sell this house? Just practicing over and over and over again, and implementing them in the role plays to the point where I was calling people's leads for free. I was like, hey, just give me a name and a number. I don't even know their property address. Just give me a name and a number. I'll call anybody. And so I was doing that for 6 months, every single day, 7 days a week, role play 5 days a week. But then I would have my weekend role plays that I would host with people. I'd get people together. We'd host weekend role plays. And I slowly became known as a closer. Somebody closes people's deals because if you try something that much, like consistently, you're going to get good at it. And eventually they asked me to compete on this platform, Closers Olympics, back in 2021. I was super new to real estate. I was super green, came in second place on the competition. And that's a competition where you call real people live in front
now
of
that's
people.
second place in the country, correct?
Yes.
That's not just in your town.
No, no, no.
Yeah, that's congratulations on that one, brother.
Thank you. And the rest is history, JJ. That gave me a lot of opportunities, a lot of JV opportunities, a lot of private money. opportunities, a lot of fundraising opportunities. Like we have a syndication right now with Pace. So like we've raised, I see Edgar here. Edgar Alexander is one of my partners on our syndication. So like it just opened the door, like just being good and known at what I do just opened the door for a lot of opportunities and possibilities. So that's my story.
Your story is great. You are one of the most recognized, most respected people in Sub 2.
Thank you.
I just want to say it's an honor to call you my friend. We've met numerous occasions. Hey, let's jump into your topic. It's a shiny object syndrome and staying focused.
Yes.
Uh,
So what's
tell us about that.
interesting,
Go
I'll tell
ahead.
you a little bit about that. Those 6 months plus, I was so focused. I did not learn how to comp properties. I didn't learn how to rehab property. I just wanted to be the best person on the phone. I want to be somebody who could talk to any seller, anywhere, anytime, and I could just open them up, figure out what's going on, and figure out a solution. That's what I want. Now, after I started getting more opportunities because now once you make it to a certain level, the level of opportunities you get is higher. Okay, so like let's say you're making $10,000 a month, you're going to get $10,000 a month opportunities. You start making $100,000 a month, you're going to get a different level of opportunities. If you're on, you have a podcast and you have 2 people showing up versus you have 30 people showing up, you're going to get a different level of opportunity. So after the Closer Olympics, I had a different level of opportunities. I had private money opportunities. I had JV opportunities. I had all these opportunities. And what happened is I stopped focusing on the core skill that got me to where I was, which was wholesaling direct to seller or direct to agent. And I started owning real estate. I started flipping houses. I started doing syndications. And those are all great projects. But what happened is I started stagnating at wholesaling. My wholesaling business started stagnating and actually started declining. So then I'm like, flash forward a year and a half. I go, man, like, I've got more rentals. I've got Airbnbs. I've got real estate I'm holding. I got flips in the pipeline, but I just can't break out of my numbers in my wholesaling. I can't break out of doing 5 deals a month. After 5, like I've never done more than 5 wholesales in a month. We just can't break out of this. I realize it's because I'm diluting my attention. And every opportunity that you get is, when you're at a certain level, it is a good opportunity for somebody. A deal you get, if your market is in Washington State, you could get a killer 6-figure deal in Tennessee. And it is a great opportunity, but it doesn't mean you should take it. Because it dilutes you, unless that's your business model, it dilutes you from your focus. When you get somewhere, you should do more of what got you there instead of starting to do something else. So that is the message I want to tell everybody. Figure out what your superpowers are, or if you want to focus on a skill set, figure that out. And when you start getting success, just do more of it.
Exactly.
Just do more of it. JJ, look, I'm sure you've got plenty of opportunities. Now, imagine if you pursue those opportunities in lieu of this platform, this community that you're building. You wouldn't be where you are today. Everybody knows, dude, everybody knows you. Everybody I know who's doing deals has at least been on this show once. That's cool. That is really, really cool. That is so freaking cool. But man, if you got sucked into something else and let this drop, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, I realize it's become a machine that I cannot stop.
The reason it's a machine is because you gave it the focus and the attention that it deserves.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Every time I come here, man, the amount of participants is always bigger. And this is my 3rd time here.
No, thank you so much. Munif, I really appreciate that. I've used this platform to build relationships. And as we know, we talked about this before the call, a number of us, the success of our business is predicated by the 5 or 6 people that we meet and we surround ourselves with. And we want that to be successful people. And I've got 4,200 people in the group right now. 10% of that is 420. 1% of that is 42. I just need 6.
Yep.
you know? So I also say I build my business by building relationships because we want to surround ourselves with successful people. Um, I think the hardest part of the business really is marketing ourselves, branding ourselves, letting people know who we are, and learning how to leverage social media.
Yep.
I tell people frequently that what I'm doing is I'm teaching business communications and interpersonal relations in regard to real estate investment and social media. And we've got a number of people on the call right now, a gentleman named Peter Yim out of Orange County down here in Los Angeles, who is really become quite visible, and he's kind of exploded with his own network just by, being a little bit more visible.
By the way, part of this now, I'm actually a host on the Daily Dial. So every Thursday, I'm actually like hosting the Daily Dial, the same platform that I used to help you know learn how to role play. And
I'm going to have to get on those Thursday mornings. I think my thing when we talk about focus and shiny object syndrome is, I jumped into the Avengers, which I did not quite see the value, whatever. But to some extent, I want to start back all over. Hey, we got some questions coming in here. Let's get some.
cool.
Shauna Clark, you are on with Munif Saza and Lila. What's your question?
So when you say scale up, right? When you can't get past a certain point, and instead of trying to add more things, do more of what you're good at. So would that be a point where like you would start putting a team together for that specific thing instead of add different things?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So like for example, like in my wholesaling business, it's like, okay, I want to stop closing deals because if it's me having to close all the deals, I'm the single point of failure. Every deal's got to go through me. That means like I'm now still trading my time for money. I'm not really operating a business. So I got to train a team. Training a team is a full-time job. Like you cannot just delegate the training or just have the people learn as they go. You have to create systems and processes around what you do. And even if that's sales, what I realize that is I can't put my brain into somebody else's mind. I can't do that. I have to create a sales process. I learned this, it took me 2 years to learn this. I have to create a sales process that anybody who's like a C plus or above salesperson can follow and be successful. If they have to be as good as me on the phone to be successful, I have not created a business. That's the truth. The challenge is, the reason I figured this out is because while I was training, a lot of my sales teams failed because while I was creating the sales team, I was also buying Airbnbs, setting up Airbnbs. I was raising money, wrapping real estate, owning rentals, calling plumbers. Instead of giving 8 hours a day of sales training to my team, or at least being in an open office with my team 8 hours a day, 5 days a week or 7 days a week, where I'm listening to their live calls, I'm tracking their KPIs, I'm making sure that refining processes. Instead, I was giving them 2 hours a week. How can anyone be successful even if it's an hour a day, how can anyone be successful with an hour a day of guidance? So I was failing the business that brought me to where I got by, yeah, she also agrees. She's like, Dad, you failed. That was not good. So I was failing my team and my business by adding more departments, right? If you're a roofing company and you're the best in the world at it, open more branches in different states. You don't necessarily need to get into the plumbing business.
Heidi Tesla, you are on with Munif Saza. What's your question?
Hey Munif, how are you?
I'm great, Heidi. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for being with us. I am so excited that you're speaking on this subject because I'm fairly new, and I like to say pace broke my brain in a good way. I mean, every day there's just so many rabbit holes to go down.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah.
it's good to know that starting simple and just staying with consistent is really good. But my question was similar to one of the others. And how did you find your team when you were just starting to build your team?
You literally the way you find your team is you find people to help because
Okay.
you got to start for free. When I started, I call people's leads for free. When my wife started transaction coordinating, she would TC people's deals for free. So you got to start for free. What happens is you find other people working a deal and they're like, hey, you take a shot at it. You start talking to people. You're like, what's going on? What's going on with your world? Hey, I can't figure this out. I need somebody to help me stay consistent, or I need somebody to help guide me. You start finding people and really like networking and events like this. Networking is a great way to build and find your team. I got a guy right now. He's awesome. He found me through social media. So he like I get messages because I'm really active on social media thanks to Love, and she's got staff that like handles our social media department. And I have people messaging me. They're like, hey, I'm full-time real estate. I want to join a team. And so oh, there she is. Love just walked out. And so somebody messaged me and I'm like, hey, let me interview you real quick. And he's like one of the best people, one like the most driven people I've ever met, most coachable person I've ever met. And like networking, social media, and doing things for free are great ways to find your team.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Edgar, you are on with Mr. Munif Saza and Lila. What's your question?
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, say hi to Uncle Edward.
Hey, how are you? Hey,
Hey.
JJ, thanks for the opportunity, Moody. Thanks for everything you have done for everybody. I think I don't have a question, but I want to thank Moody for helping me exactly with this topic of the shiny, syndrome, the shiny object syndrome. Because when I joined the community, before I even joined Sub2, I was watching the videos and all kind of stuff. And I met Munif. Munif helped me before I even was a member of any community. And he guided me to something that I could do at that time, which was lending. So he helped me to start in this lending business. Right? So I had to tune out from a bunch of other stuff. And he guided me into something that I could actually start doing it. So I thank Munif for that. We've been working together for quite some time, and I have to thank JJ as well, because JJ helped me to become visible. So by the visibility that I achieved, with JJ's help, I was able to do more business on the lending side. So I want to thank you both for everything you have done for me personally, and for a bunch of other people. So Munif, JJ, thank you very much, guys.
Edgar, thank you so much. You've participated with the group for quite a while now, and you've become the embodiment of one of my quotes. I met you by participating in my networking group. And then, as you said, you became visible. And the quote that I'm referring to is, networking leads to visibility, and visibility leads to opportunity.
Yes, sir.
And that's exactly what's happened with you and Munif. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for joining us again.
Thanks again, my friend.
We have Mr. Mario Finkbeiner. Mario, you're on with Munif Saza. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Munif?
I'm good, man. How are you, man? Nice to see you again.
Good. So the question is this. I'm going through my own. I had a stroke, 2 strokes on New Year's and Christmas last year. And it's revamped the whole thing. I don't drive anymore. I can't drive myself. So now I'm going back into on the phones. And what I wanted for the newbies is, on a wholesaling deal, what do you recommend for people, and, to get the flavor of, should I do this? Do you recommend staying 6 months to 2 years? Do you recommend a specific niche and that? And I'm always a big team player for working as a team. Marsha's
I recommend you figure out what kind of sales you're good at So I'll give you an example. Are you better at in-person sales? Are you better at phone sales? Are you better at email sales?
Well,
And
I'm learning. Yeah, I'm
if
learning.
you're more of an
Well,
email guy, do reach out to agents. Agents, they actually do emails really well. They love emails. It's weird, but they do. And if you can do a lot of credibility on the email building by having a good like email signature and you're like the way you write emails and CC thing, like if that's like very, you do it right, you can actually get a lot of deals just by being really proficient in email. If you're better on the phones, you can still do agent. You can call agents on the phone. You can also do direct to seller. And if you're better in person, you got to door knock. You got to knock on doors on pre-foreclosures and niche it down. So I would figure out what you're best at if and what you like. Usually you're best at what you like. And if you're more of a face-to-face guy, you should knock on pre-foreclosures and just talk to people. If you want to be on the phone, you should call direct to seller leads. If you've got cash, you can pay for leads. There's like companies that they'll have leads and you can just talk to them on the phone and make them offer. You got to pay them like 150 or a couple $100 a pop. If you don't want to spend money, pull a list. The freest list in the planet is the foreclosure list. It's free. You just call foreclosures, and as soon as you just track the foreclosures in your county, and you just call them, and it doesn't cost you anything. You can use cyber background. It's there's a website called Cyber Background Awareness. You just put the address in there. It will show up the person's name. You just call the person. The data it's completely free. You're going to get lower quality data, so maybe 1 out of 5 people are going to be correct on cyber background, but it's free. So you literally have a way to get in touch with people in a completely free way and see if you can help people.
So, Munif, we're going to wrap it up now just a little bit here. I've got 2 last questions for you before we close out here.
Sure.
You dropped some great bombs today, as always. Really, really appreciate you being here. But if people want to follow up with you, whether the folks on the call now, they want to take some notes, or people watching on YouTube weeks or months down the line, you have a couple of sites or social media links. What's the best way for people to reach you?
So if you want to follow my content, follow me on Instagram. It's just at Munif Saza. You can find me on Facebook. You literally just search Munif Saza. I'm like the only Munif Saza on the planet. If you want to text me, you can text me. My actual phone number is 571-274-4087. So just shoot me a text. I've got,
And in addition to that, you and Love are actually doing some transaction coordinating and have a website for that as well?
Yep, that is intentionaltc.com. Thank you, JJ.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Hey, I got one last question for you. I have a networking group. I'm always talking about networking and the importance of it. And I honestly think a lot of people don't see the value of it, but from your standpoint, someone who is, started and had some apprehension with your first, role playing of cold calling and moving in, creating a very successful business and being, one of the most highly respected people in Pace Morby Sub 2 community. From your perspective, and let me paint a picture here. Every education group, Sub 2, Astro, Talk to People, Thrive, every single one of them has a Facebook page or group for their membership community.
Yep.
Every one of these communities has brand new inexperienced investors coming every day.
Yep.
As well as experienced investors coming to join their groups every single day.
Yep.
A lot of times there's people getting into the social media platform, even if they've had a Facebook page before, they're frequently now using Facebook as a business tool for the very first time.
Yes.
And they're, getting into the deal. How do I get a deal? How do I do this? I think they're frequently ignoring the networking aspect.
Yep.
From your perspective, how important is networking to the success of the inexperienced or the experienced investor? And what importance is it to join a group like mine, being a networking group where we're actually teaching people how to network?
So if you have the right network, you will get deals for no money out of your pocket. So that's the best. Like, look, I just got a text message from Madge, plant-based Madge. And he's like, hey, brother, curious, would you be interested in a deal? in Tyler, Texas. It's a creative deal. So if that's a good deal for me, that I can either buy or most likely in this stage of my life, wholesale and help Madge wholesale it, that cost me $0. I literally just got that text from Madge. And I met Madge through networking in groups like this and Zooms like this. I met him on a Zoom. So you meet the right people, they know what you do. They know he knows I do deals in Texas. That's where I primarily do deals, major Texas markets. So when he found a deal in Texas under contract, he called me. So that took a couple years to build up that network. And you can only, as long as you do right by people and you have a good reputation, your network only gets bigger and stronger. So always do right by people, always treat people with respect. Golden rule, treat people how you want to be treated, do the right thing every single time. Your reputation is priceless, and it's easy to destroy your reputation. It's really hard to build a
Oh
reputation.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So
So,
let me touch into the second half of that question. We've got new investors coming all the time. What value, because you've now been on the calls a couple times, you've seen how my group works. What value do you think my group is for the new investor? And is my group something that new investors should consider in maybe improving some of their skills to build their business?
I mean, just look, man, this is like the first thing I learned. I remember, like, when you add somebody on Facebook, you can't just cold add them on Facebook, right? Like, one thing you teach really well is like add them and then send them a message, tell them why you're adding them. Like, hey, I'm so and so. I noticed that you're in these groups. I do this. I wanted to send you your friend request. You stand out because nobody's doing that. No
That's
one.
my number one thing. Yeah.
No, I know that. And so it's like, even those basic things that you teach people, it's like you'd be surprised that people don't, like, a lot of people don't do those basic things.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, on your profile, is your photo professional? Like, do you have a photo of a flower as your profile photo, or is it you? Like, with your, like, people can see your face. Is your cover photo a cake, or is it something related to the industry you're in? And so, it's some of these basic things that we, want to just do so people are inherently lazy. It just inherently, we don't want to work to get information we want to open up a page and have everything right there. We don't want to have to put on our private investigator hats and figure out who's who. We want it all there, neat and easy. Think of like your business card. So Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, these are your digital business cards. Super important to listen to the tips that JJ gives you, especially if you're new. He literally teaches you how to network. Look, some people are naturally gifted networkers and some people aren't. And guess what? What JJ teaches you, even if you're not naturally gifted networker, if you follow the process of networking, you will build a network. It's impossible not to build a network if you follow the process that JJ teaches you.
Munif, thank you so much, my friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. And and one of this, in closing, one of the last things I say is that, guys, no matter what education program we get into, it's great stuff. The content is great, the training is great, the coaching is great, the curriculum is great. But the real value that you take away from any of these programs are the friendships and the relationships you make. And for me to be able to become friends with Munif, and looking forward to have, Munif and Lila and Love come visit my new house as soon as it's built in California. But to have people like this that you can call your friends is invaluable. And one of the things I always say is chase the relationship, don't chase the deal. I didn't meet Munif and go, hey, can you help me with the deal? Can you help me with the deal? We become friends first. Now that we've done that, as soon as my new house is built, I'm going to be like, Munif, can you help me out? But it's about chasing the relationship first. Munif, I want to thank you for being on the call today. Again, if you guys want to connect with Munif, he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram. Again, his website,
Intentional TC.
intentionaltc.com. If you want to connect with myself, jjzizian.com, go to my website, click the register now button, join the group. Look for more stuff coming from me, and Munif is all over the place. Look for him on social media. Munif, we'll see everybody out there in social media land, right? On your website, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yep. See you there.